So for the practice purpose, we will be working in mode analytics. So I'll just quickly tell you how you can start using mode analytics. So this is how we can just open it up, and I'll just click on sign in here. All right. And in general also, mode also has a set of SQL tutorials for specifically for data analysis purpose. So SQL is just a very simple language which is used for database management, managing a high amount of data, and it is used across different tools. It's used in Teradata, Alation, Hadoop, and multiple DBMS purposes. And overall, it is very widely used if you're specifically looking for a data analyst or data scientist profile. Then you should be having good knowledge about it. And overall, it is a very simple language to understand and learn. So here you will see a basic SQL and intermediate SQL, advanced SQL. These kind of trainings are there. And for today's session, we'll try to cover as much as possible in the basic part of it, right? While at the same time understanding intuitively what each of the clauses and each of the statements mean. So let me go to mode, and here in mode you can just create a kind of simple. So this is how the interface looks like, the home page. I just created my account, and here on the right hand side top you will see this new report. So I'm just clicking on it, and once I click on it, it will take me. It will basically start creating a new report, something like this, and this is basically created here. You kind of can manage the editor preferences. You can take a dark mode as well, or you can take side-by-side stack panels or simple stack panels like this. And uh, what the interface looks like is this. And here, if you can see, this is their database for beginners. This in their free version. This is their tutorial is their database, and inside tutorial there are these different data sets. Okay, so we can take any data sets of these. Let's take this Billboard top 100 year end, or there is the city populations as well. So let's take the city populations, and just create a very basic table, and I'm just selecting star from it. And by default, if you can see here, the limit is 100. But let's say if I just want to calculate if I just want to see the top 20 rows or something, then I can also give that here. So as I start typing, it will start giving suggestions here of different databases. We start with C. So I'll just click on city populations. And to run this part, I have did a control all, and I'm just pressing control plus enter. Okay. So it will just run this part, and you can see the few rows in here. Okay. These are just few rows here. So we have city, we have state, we have population estimate, and then we have ID. All right. So it looks like this is the city of different US states, right? These are different US states. And let me just, so if I want to comment here, then I have to use control enter. So I'll just write it as control plus enter for commenting. If you're using Mac, then you should use command plus enter. So you can comment like this. You can also give 2 hyphens to comment any part. And I'm selecting all data from. So this is just for easy understanding of whatever we are doing here, right? This is how you can comment and you can figure it out. So I'm just selecting all data from this city underscore populations. Now, if I just want to take out 5 rows, top 5 rows, then I can just do limit 5. And if I now just run this part again, it will just return me the top 5 rows out of it. Okay, so just returning me top 5 rows. Now what I want to do is I want to check. So obviously it looks like that there will be a lot of cities, which will be all different ones, and the state also it will be kind of different. I just want to check if the IDs are different or not. Okay, so for doing that, we can use the distinct statement. So just give this distinct statement to select distinct values of column. Before doing that, I'll just try to check how many total rows are there in my data. So for doing that, I can just use count star. So I'm just doing select count star from like this. So if I run this part, it returns me 50. So there are just 50 rows as we saw. So I'll just mention it here, 50 rows of data, right? Now I have to basically figure out distinct statement to select distinct values of a particular column. So I'll just run this part again, just to make sure that I'm selecting the right columns. Now I'll do select distinct. This ID column I want. Select distinct ID from tutorial dot city populations. Right. So if I run this, this also give me like 50 rows, 50 different rows, and this just lists out different IDs and the number. If I want to count it, I just need to put count around it. So now if I run this particular part, then it should give me the total distinct values like this. So overall here, the ID column has all distinct values only. Now let me go back, let me run this part, and now let's try to start filtering this data set. Let's say if we want to ask some questions from this data, then how can we do that? So for filtering purpose, we use where condition. Distinct values means what values? So distinct values means unique values in a particular column. So we have unique values of ID in this particular column. Similarly, we have unique values of state. So if I even do state here, so this will also give me around 50, I'm guessing, but to validate it, I'm just running it. So, okay, so there are 28 values actually, distinct values of a state. So my assumption was wrong. So we'll see how many, which values are kind of repeating, right? So to do that, uh, yeah. So to do that, let's do something like this. Yeah. Okay. So first, okay. So let's first try to do the where condition thing, and once we go to around group by, then we will try to sort this question out, like which particular states are kind of not having unique values. Okay, yeah, so these are basically distinct values of state, right? So cities can be duplicate, and states can be sorry, cities should be unique, and states can be duplicate, because this is like kind of a little bit higher level of data, right? So let me first look at city, and yeah. So see, for city we have around 50 rows, and 50 different unique values. So I'll just write it as to select distinct or unique values. Okay, unique means all different values. Now I'm just putting this where condition for filtering. So I want to filter at the level of at the level of population. So before doing that, let's try to see how does my minimum and maximum population looks like. Okay, and this is the population estimate of a particular year 2012. So okay, so let's do that. So for doing that, we use order by to select, order by to sort the data by particular column. Okay, so you just have to do it in the same way. Select star from, and then you can order by a particular column. Let's say population estimate. So this is the population estimate, and I want to order by this column. I'll just do this, and I'll just press Control Enter. So it'll sort the data by population estimate, and here we can kind of see the population in ascending order. So this is 375,000, 385,000, 390,000 roughly. So this from Texas state, Arlington city, and as it goes on until here, right? So New York, as you can see, it has somewhere around 8 million population. Then there is this Los Angeles with 3 million population, Chicago with somewhere around 2.7 million. Now let's try to validate the same thing with the help of minimum and maximum. So we should get maximum as somewhere around 833 million, 8 million, and we should get minimum for this 375, 600. So for doing that, you can just select minimum of the same column, population estimate, and similarly maximum of the same column, and then we can just write from this particular one. All right, so if I run this particular part, as you can see here, the minimum we have got is whatever the minimum value we saw and the maximum value we saw. Now the same data set which I ran here, let me rerun this particular part. Here let me just mention the comments. Mention the comments for easier understanding. So let me just drag down it a little bit, and okay. I'll just mention here that min max for selecting minimum and maximum values. Okay. Now what I want you to tell, what I want you to know is that here we are just sorting from this particular column, right? Now instead of this, let's say if I want to sort the data from higher to lower, right now it is lower to higher by population, but let's say if I want to sort it from higher to lower, then I'll just give an argument as DSC. And yeah, one more thing before that is SQL is case sensitive. So if you use if it treats the capital letters and small letters in the same way. So if I use DSC or I use DSC in the small, it doesn't really make any difference. So if I now run this particular part, then it will return the same thing, but you will see New York at top. So you can see New York at top here with the highest population, then it goes on reducing, right? So this like for these top 50 states. Okay. Now let's try to put population with this. Let's try to understand where clause. So where clause is used to filter the data based upon any particular condition. So you can do a simple select star from this. What software is this actually? So this is mode analytics. So this is not a software. This is just a website. So in this website, they have their own SQL engine. You have a list of data sets here, so you can practice in their platform itself. And at the same time, you can look at probably SQL W3 schools for getting your basics right. Or the mode analytics themselves also provide SQL tutorials, which you can go through in detail for data analysis. Okay. So I'm just putting where condition here, select star from tutorial dot this thing. And what I want to understand is which cities are there, which have, so I'll just mention here, which for filtering cities, more than 1 million population. Okay. So I'll just write select star from tutorial dot city population where this particular value is greater than or equal to 1 million. So how many zeros I'll put? Let's put 6 zeros. Let me just count it, 3 this side and 3 this side. Okay, 6 zeros are there. So now let me just run this particular part. It should ideally return me all all the data which has all the cities with more than 1 million population. So as you can see, you have New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Philadelphia, San Diego, Dallas. So all of these are famous cities in USA, right? So yeah, all of these have pretty high population. Okay. Now, next we should look at maybe or operators. Let's say if I want to put one more condition that the ID column also should be less than 5. Okay. So I'll just put less than equal to 5. So then I should get only 5 rows. So I'm just getting 5 rows, and here the ID is less than equal to 5. Similarly, instead of and, I can put or operator as well. And instead of now these operators, let's try to look at a particular between operator. Okay. Now let's say if I want to figure out what is the population between 500K to 1 million. Okay. So I'll just write it as select star from the same thing. So I'll just put a filter on this column between, and then when I put between, then I can give a couple of values. So first value I want to give is this, and before this I want to give the 500K value. So let me just count the zeros again. 1, 2, 3, 500K. So 500K to 1 million. So now this I want to run, and between operator is inclusive of start and end values. So both of these values will be included, this one and this one. Okay. So now if I just run it, then I should list out all the cities which are kind of like this. Okay. Okay. Now